Hi, my name is Anthony Becker, and I'm running for mayor of Santa Clara. Why? Because I represent the real changes that needed here in the city of Santa Clara. With our next video is to talk a little bit about my opponent. This video is about facts. And what are facts? Facts are truth. The thing is that this video is about my opponent. It's the truth about my opponent. And the thing is this is like a research paper. You put together all the facts, compile the evidence, and that's your truth. My opponent feels that the truth can be adjusted. The truth cannot be adjusted. The truth has no temperature. Therefore, what I ask is you check this video out and ask yourself, what is the truth? Ask yourself the same questions that I've been asking, and maybe my opponent can answer them himself. I thank you, and please enjoy the video.
Chapter 1, the 2010 ballot. Santa Clara City Council was all set to put a stadium measure on the June 8, 2010 ballot.
11th hour, the 49ers paid a group to front their initiative so they can't be sued.
It just feels like the process continues to be hijacked. It was, and I felt staff was bending over backwards to work with the team on developing ballot language.
Council appointed a committee to write the measure summary. It's just not clear enough, said Lisa Gillmor. At the 11th and a half hour, the Niners changed it. Councilmember Matthews preempted the committee's work by introducing his own motion.
Come tonight and want to thank the staff for taking a very difficult set of different input and trying to come up with some draft language that we're looking at. And I have to admit, procedurally, I was having a difficult time with the fact that this was a citizens' initiative.
Arguments for Measure J said, Santa Clara will benefit significantly from its investment. The project will bring thousands of new jobs, and it would increase the economic activity to our city and our region.
The city's investment in the stadium triggers over $26 million in net new funding for our local schools. The $249 million that supporters were arguing the stadium would generate reportedly came after the construction of the stadium. When commenting on the measure, Gillmor quoted, "There are no hidden costs for this stadium project, and it's clearly stated in the ordinance, which will become law when it's voted on June 8th.
My name is Kathy Watanabe.
I am Debbie Davis.
I love football.
Makes an opportunity possible.
It's going to bring a boost in terms of millions of dollars to our local school district.
And it won't cost me a dime.
Voting yes on J.
Huge boost for our economy, $249 million.
Yes is about making a great city even better.
South to Santa Clara is now just 12 days away. The stadium issue is Measure J on the Santa Clara ballot. People there are polarized about whether to vote yes or no.
$440 million instead of the published $114 million.
The 49ers want $114 million up front. They want us to raise another $330 million for them. In exchange, Santa Clara gets peanuts.
There are no hidden costs for this stadium project, and it's clearly stated in the ordinance, which will become law when it's voted on June 8th.
But wait, let's pause. Flash forward to this interview in 2017.
That we take a lot of risks in Santa Clara, but they're calculated risks. And we've done that in the past. We're doing it now. We're taking on some big things that have really paid off for us.
June 8th, election night.
Santa Clara's Measure J would allow the 49ers to build a new stadium there. Crown 4's Jonathan Bloom joins us live from Santa Clara. 65% voting in favor of Measure J. Jonathan?
A huge celebration of sorts, even without all the returns in. A lot of people have been sort of all but declaring victory. Of course, this is a proposition backed by the mayor of Santa Clara herself, who was giving hugs to the Yorks as they walked in. The city of Santa Clara and a lot of the folks here believe that this is a good thing for the city's economy. Of course, there is a small vocal contingent of folks who believe that this is bad for the economy of Santa Clara. But
Chapter 2, the shill.
January 5th, 2011. Santa Clara City Council votes to fill council vacancy left by Jamie Matthews when he was elected mayor.
I was appointed in 2010 to fill the position of Jamie Matthews, who was elected as mayor of the city of Santa Clara. And the council decided to appoint for a position. So there were several candidates, and they chose me for the seat. And I think we make economic development a focus for us for my next 4 years. It needs to be a #1 focus if we're to survive the effects of this Great Recession. We're very fortunate that We have the stadium now, and it's being built, and hopefully I've heard it's ahead of schedule. But once we finished inking the agreements for the stadium, I'm already thinking about what's next. San Jose did sue us under CEQA for some issues that I can't really talk about them since there's a pending lawsuit at the moment, but it is an exciting project, and yes.
For you.
Well, for Santa Clara and the region, but I don't think we spend enough time creating. I'd like to create revenue, create long-term revenue, cash flows into our general fund, and start creating, a bigger sense of place and financial independence for our city. That as soon as possible, we need to master plan the area around the stadium to start attracting businesses and come up with our plan. We have issues associated with that. We have a lot of parking issues and other issues that that are created because of success. And so I think that we need to address that now, and so I do see our entertainment area enhanced.
4, 3, 2, 1.
As mayor of Santa Clara, I'm very proud to welcome the Denver Broncos and Carolina Panthers to Levi Stadium for Super Bowl 50. We look forward to hosting both teams and all their fans for the golden anniversary right here in the city of Santa Clara, the center of what's possible. If you're lucky enough to come for the game, we hope you'll spend some time exploring the exciting city of Santa Clara and all there is to do here, including outstanding restaurants, shops, museums, and parks.
February 7th, 2016. Santa Clara hosted Super Bowl 50.
Welcome to Levi Stadium here in Santa Clara as we are getting set for Super Bowl 50 as the Denver Broncos and Carolina Panthers will do battle for the...
For a few hours, the world's eyes were all on Santa Clara. We were on top of the world. What happened? February 8th, 2016. The day after Super Bowl 50. Breaking news. Santa Clara Mayor Jamie Matthews resigns, stating his resignation was due to health problems and wanting to be closer to his family. The 49ers were thrown for a loss as key ally quits. A week after Mayor Jamie Matthews' abrupt resignation, the city council appointed Lisa Gillmor as his successor.
Lisa Gillmor said, "I will return your trust by governing collaboratively." The council spent 10 minutes praising Gillmor. After being sworn, Gillmor vowed to use her position to improve transparency. She said, we can't make decisions in a back room. We need to do it in the public.
There's a definite mistrust in terms of the amount of development, the operations of the stadium.
Kathy Watanabe to the open seat left vacated by Lisa Gillmor when she was appointed mayor.
Signaling they're ready for a new chapter, and tonight they have a new mayor. Santa Clara City Council say it's time to stop fighting and to start working together.
Chapter 3, The Switch. A rise of dark money in the name Blue Pack.
While the developers were funneling dark money through the police and firefighter unions, almost $250,000.
So, what is Blue Pack? Well, Blue Pack is a 501c4 established by Douglas Chan just a couple months ago, December of 2015. Douglas Chan is a very successful attorney in San Francisco dealing with personal injury. Why he's interested in a social welfare website, which is what a 501c should be, but it's not. It's actually 100% political. Again, why would a San Francisco-based attorney be interested in local Santa Clara politics? Turns out these are the people that Blue Pack is endorsing. They're all basically very friendly to the 49ers. We understand that. So next, we put this up here, hope it sticks. Okay. Next we have amount of money, $49,265. You may ask yourself, what's important about that number? Well, number one, a 501c4 never has to disclose its donors.
Council
Well, I think with the majority of the seats up for election this term, it's high stakes for our city. The stakes at hand are, do you want the city of Santa Clara to be run by an NFL team or the residents? And I think that's the clear distinction for this election. Which candidates do you want in the seats?
I mean, it's big business. It's located in Santa Clara. I mean, I think most people wouldn't be surprised that they're going to be involved politically in some way. Why is this shocking?
It's shocking by the terms of them trying to hide the money and launder the money through different organizations. Certainly, if you want to support candidates, be honest about it, come forward, write your checks the way you normally do. We have limits on contributions in our city, and do it the honest, legal way. In terms of, funneling and laundering money through other organizations, that's not the honest and transparent way. We're trying to keep transparency and openness in our city right now, and this just flies in the face of everything we're trying to do in Santa Clara. The 49ers, when they came to the city, made a lot of promises that they reneged on. They made a lot of promises and they've reneged on those promises. And now they're trying to take over a majority of the city council through backroom politics and laundered money. This particular blue PAC is running vile videos and making terrible claims against our council members and even me, and I'm not even up for election. So they're desperate. They have to launder the money. They don't want to take responsibility for it. And I think, as Miss Rosa said, Mr. York should come out and say, yes, I'm involved in this or I'm not, but be honest. As citizens, we honestly supported them when we approved Measure J. We believed them. We believed everything they said. They have not lived up to those promises, and now they want to take us over. So again, it's simple. Do you want Santa Clara run by the 49ers and an NFL team by selecting certain council members that are supported by Blue PAC? Or do you want to continue with the transparency and openness that we've tried to obtain in the last 6-7 months on the council? And I think we're doing a pretty good job of it.
Mayor, if this is substantiated, how does this affect the relationship between the Niners and the city going forward?
Absolutely. We need to trust people we're doing business with. And so if you don't have that level of trust, it's difficult. And so I want to make sure in my council right now, we want...
The independent expenditure reports for Debbie Davis are the hypocrisy of Against Dark Money. Tino Silva, Kathy Watanabe, Teresa O'Neill, Pat Nicolai. Thousands upon thousands of dollars. They are the dark money. The video in Blue PAC was a distraction from the developers funding the 5 candidates, funneling it through the police officers and firefighter unions.
I want to make sure that Santa Clara is given everything that we were promised, everything our contracts tell us. Once we finished inking the agreements for the stadium,
hidden costs for this stadium project, and it's clearly stated in the ordinance, which will become law when it's voted on June 8th.
We're protecting ourselves now. We want to make sure that we're getting back everything that's owed to us in terms of these contracts. So we're protecting ourselves. If they are involved, which I believe that they are, I believe that the evidence is very compelling that they're there. And it's no surprise, we always said in this Stand Up for Santa Clara and all the citizens, we're going to follow the money. We're always going to follow the money. We're following the money now.
So what promises?
Promises to the soccer community that they did not want the 11-acre soccer park next to the stadium. A proposal for pennies on the dollar to take our 11 acres that's worth over $100 million for $7 million to pennies on the dollar, and they were ready to take it over, and they had support on the council. Luckily, and that's how Stand Up for Santa Clara was born, by the parents, and to stand up for the city and say, no, enough is enough. We're not going to take this anymore. So I think that's why we're all here, and I have actually a majority of the council here in support of the openness and transparency. Let the residents decide who they vote for. Let's not, this fake organization with laundered money, tell us who to vote for in our city. We will demand that they need to respect us because we deserve it. We let them in our community. We voted to support them. We believed all their promises. And so now it's time that they turn around and support us.
Is it illegal?
What illegal?
Is it illegal what they're doing?
I can't answer that. I don't know. Ethically, it's wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong to try to hide and launder money like this.
Chapter 4. The Feud. A collage of news reports that documents the increasing feud between the city of Santa Clara and the 49ers.
Verify the complaints, but recommended an audit because after asking multiple stadium managers, how do you assure that the city's general and enterprise funds are protected from subsidizing the operation and maintenance of Levi Stadium as stated in Measure J? The answer was consistently, I don't know.
Honestly, I don't know how that happened, but the good thing is we're going to find out what was the damage done.
City, home to the 49ers, called out for a financial fumble. Turns out Santa Clara taxpayers have been footing the bill for costs that should have been billed to Levi Stadium.
After a month of investigating, the two seasoned auditors feel Levi Stadium likely owes the city of Santa Clara a significant amount of money.
Are we talking about tens of thousands of dollars? Are we talking about over $1 million?
I don't have a number for you right now. We know it's an issue. We do think it's worth exploring.
Are you confident that Santa Clara will be made whole at the end of this?
I'm absolutely confident now. Now that we have the auditors in place, we're taking a very proactive step to make sure that we are complying with the law.
Mike Sellers called it election year grandstanding. In fact, he says he welcomes the audit. We asked,
but government watchdog Deborah Bress says the audit is likely to uncover blame on both sides.
I think what we're going to find out when this audit comes to an end is, I think there's a lot of money that Santa Clara has not received. And who you point to, I think it's going to go this way. I think we're going to point all over the place.
But Mayor Gillmor says she's not about to fumble the opportunity to ensure that the team is paying its fair share.
This is a business relationship, and if they're not pulling up their part of the business relationship, then we are going to have to change things.
Mayor and the 49ers, they exchanged some words. Now, if you remember, Mayor Lisa Gillmor is looking into whether taxpayer dollars are being spent at the stadium to help pay for games and other events, and that would be in violation of Measure J.
One of the reports that's required that we haven't seen is the shared expense report, shared revenue and expense report. So when an event comes in and something is charged, we want to know what's our share of the expenses and what is the 49er share of the expenses.
All information has been provided or made available. It is simply not the case that information requested by your outside consultant has not been provided. It's not the case.
All right, so the 49ers, they have had enough. They released a statement yesterday saying in part, quote, until recently we have remained largely silent, hoping our performance would speak for itself. The mayor fails to recognize that her unfounded accusations are harmful to her city and constituents.
The stadium is going to be at the center of a big discussion in Santa Clara.
Well, not long after the Super Bowl, the relationship between the city of Santa Clara and the 49ers really kind of soured, and it's grown more acrimonious since. The city of Santa Clara now threatening to take over Levi Stadium. Clara had been spending general fund money on the stadium in the form of public safety, and that would be a violation of Measure J.
For the citizens of Santa Clara, what's being said out there is misleading.
Showdown in Santa Clara tonight after the big U2 concert at Levi Stadium blew right past its curfew. Maria Medina tells us the city is now following through on its promise to punish the 49ers for disturbing the peace.
U2 took the stage last night.
They deliberately and willfully violated the law.
Santa Clara Mayor Lisa Gillmor says because the concert continued until 11, the 49ers, which oversees Levi Stadium where the concert took place, broke the 10 p.m. curfew law. We'll pursue all appropriate legal action and take steps to ensure this doesn't happen again.
We made a promise to our community, so we cannot affect their quality of life. It's already affected in terms of traffic, litter, garbage, noise, those types of things. Action is that we expect better. We expect better. We expect service for the visitors that come, especially to the non-NFL events.
Now, the 49ers did ask city leaders for a curfew extension just in case the concert went long. They were denied, but a couple weeks later, the city granted Great America, which is right next door, about 30 curfew extensions. The next concert here is in October with Coldplay, also in the middle of the week.
A new audit fueling more bad blood between the city of Santa Clara and the 49ers. The city insists that the team owes them money. KPX 5's Devin Feely on why the city says it is still being kept in the dark.
Draft of the audit, there was hope that it might bring some clarity to the financial and management issues that have often seen the city and the 49ers on opposite sides, but instead it just seems to be stirring up even more controversy.
You can see it now.
1 year and $200,000 later, and the city of Santa Clara still hasn't found what it's looking for either. The stadium authority's long-awaited audit leaves the city in the dark about the costs and potential profits from big-name concerts at Levi's like this summer's U2 performance. The audit team identified nearly $115,000 it believes the 49ers owe the city for police and fire services at Levi's during the stadium's first few years in operation. But the auditors failed to get a closer look at so-called non-NFL events, big concerts like Beyonce's, because the 49ers wouldn't allow them to, quote, review and report on their records without first signing a non-disclosure agreement. It is, quote, riddled with errors, adding, in the end, they wasted over $200,000 in public funds to discover that the city of Santa Clara failed to bill $115,000 in expenses, something which was their responsibility. The final audit generating more heat than light on the often acrimonious relationship between city leaders and the 49ers.
1 year later. Summer 2018. Chapter 5. The CVRA Lawsuit and Districting.
Measure A was developed by Santa Clarans for Santa Clarans.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the real, the crux of the situation is that we sent we appointed a charter review committee, and we actually appointed everyone who applied to be on the charter review committee vision. And I think, and you're all aware of the lawsuit, so we've been sued by an outside group coming into Santa Clara wanting us to split our city into many districts, like taking one of San Jose's district and cutting it up into six or seven more districts and getting rid of the elected mayor and doing those kinds of things. But the outside attorneys that are coming in are looking at obtaining, those are most of the opponents of Measure A, looking at obtaining millions of dollars in attorney's fees from our city. Yeah. And again, Santa Clara's developed this plan for Santa Clara. Yeah. And I think that people really, I think you really touched on it, don't understand what a diverse city we actually are. Mm-hmm. Our neighborhoods are very diverse. That's why they had such a difficult time trying to find any pockets that they could to make their case. Committee, and we took your recommendations. We didn't alter anything. The council didn't. We took them. It was a community based recommendation. They're proactively out there trying to find plaintiffs. Well, I mean, it's clear to me that it's outsiders coming in, trying to make money off the city, and really affecting the governance of our city and where we govern from our community.
Judge, in a December hearing, also called Measure A, the City Council's proposed remedy suspect. That should have been a clear signal to the council to abandon the proposal in favor of drawing 6 smaller neighborhood districts that would give minority candidates a better chance of being elected. The council members chose to ignore the warning and put their plans before voters. Measure A contains obvious flaws. The ranked choice component has pros and cons, including that it's potentially confusing to voters. But the big objection is the unorthodox proposal dividing the city into 2 districts, which even proponents say is unlike any system used in California. Measure A creates the potential for a majority of city council members, including the mayor, to live within walking distance of one another, as several do now. It's also not clear to what degree dividing the city in half, roughly along El Camino, would enhance minority candidate chances for election. If Measure A passes, the City Council is likely to push forward with an appeal. This despite a warning from city consultants in 2011 and at least 2 warnings from the judge. The council should stipulate to liability, save money, and move on the remedy phase. The city has defeated a California Voting Rights Act challenge since the law was passed 15 years ago. Losing efforts in Modesto and Palmdale cost each in the neighborhood of $5 million. A conservative estimate of plaintiff fees just for the most recent trial, $3 million to $4 million. And that doesn't include the substantial attorney fees incurred by the city of Santa Clara. With 100% of precincts reporting Wednesday morning, Measure A failed by 4.7%, a difference of 471 votes. This was not the first CVRA lawsuit locally. Santa Clara knew. 2016 news report, CVRA lawsuit in San Mateo County, is a comparison.
A story you'll see only on NBC Bay Area. Is San Mateo County keeping minorities out of public office?
A racially charged lawsuit is accusing the county of keeping the faces of the supervisors one color, white. Here's NBC Bay Area Stephanie Trong.
The San Mateo County supervisors, who she says don't live in her kind of neighborhood. All 5 are white.
Do you believe there's racism?
I know it is. I know it is. It's racism, yes. I know it is.
And she's not alone. Some people who feel the same way decided to sue the county for discrimination and for violating state vote.
Civil rights issue, having equal votes in our district.
In the last 10 years, 5 people of color have run for a seat on the Board of Supervisors. Rose Jacobs Gibson, an East Palo Alto City Councilwoman, an African American, served 14 years before she termed out this January. 4 others, all Latino, lost.
It's impossible really to win because, first of all, it's controlled. It's controlled by the old boys club here in San Mateo.
Whites at nearly 42% of the population, Asian Pacific Islanders 28%, Latinos 25%. But if you go by city, there's a very different breakdown. At the top in Daly City, Asian Pacific Islanders, 56%. And in East Palo Alto, Latinos make up nearly 65%.
We put it before the voters 2 other times, and the voters didn't want district elections.
Supervisor Adrienne Tissier says this isn't a city council race. She's concerned the new system of electing supervisors by district will fracture the county.
It gets very myopic. You know, we are a safety net provider, and we provide those services throughout the county.
To avoid the courtroom, the county put the issue on the November 2012 ballot in Measure B. It passed at almost 60%. The county has been holding meetings during the summer, asking the people to draw their own district lines.
Make up about 1/3 of Santa Clara's population, but you never know it by looking at the faces on the city council. Now, Len Ramirez reports Asian American voters are taking the city to court to make their political voices heard.
Wesley Mukayama has lived in Santa Clara for 44 years. He says he loves the city, but when it comes to local elections, something's wrong.
I feel, ignored. I feel disenfranchised.
Mukayama is now a plaintiff in a lawsuit filed against Santa Clara, which accuses the city of setting up a voting system that discriminates against Asian Americans by diluting their votes.
I think we should have better representation.
It means all voters in the city cast ballots for all the same candidates as opposed to district elections where sections of the city vote for their own representatives. The Asian Law Alliance, which is backing the voting rights suit, says the 2016 election saw 5 Asians running for city council seats, but none were elected. And that's in a city that is 30% Asian. Clara city officials say a June ballot measure addresses the issue. Measure A would divide the city into 2 districts with ranked choice voting determining the winners in each district. Mayor Lisa Gillmor said, quote, Measure A is a grassroots community solution established by residents of the city of Santa Clara to update the way future council members would be elected. But Wesley says the measure doesn't go far enough.
I think it's a sham. I think it's because they want to stay in power.
Plaintiffs say they have asked the city for years to make the changes, but were always denied. Now a judge could force Santa Clara to move to district elections.
Are you experiencing deja vu too? Similar stories, similar situations.
Setting the stage for a major shift in Santa Clara politics, a judge on Monday ordered that the city be divided into 6 districts for future elections, ending an at-large election system that has led to an all-white city council for generations. During the trial, the plaintiffs put Anaheim Mayor Pro Tem Jose Moreno on the witness stand. The city converted to district elections several years ago as part of a settlement in a similar case. To the settlement, the Southern California city had few Latinos on its council, Moreno said, and Hispanic voters didn't necessarily feel like they could make a difference. Afterward, the community mobilized, he said, with young people, especially becoming more involved in campaigning for certain candidates. What people want is someone who understands their experience, Moreno said. But a settlement ends the possibility of an appeal. And since it chose not to settle the case, Santa Clara could appeal the decision. Gillmor, who will also be up for re-election in 2018, has led a 4-member majority which could ultimately be in jeopardy under the new system. Becker, who lost a bid for council seat in 2016, said he thinks even the new map is gerrymandered, drawn to allow the current council members to keep their seats and to pit well-known minority figures against each other, incumbents in the future elections. They are afraid of breaking up a clique, Becker said. This is all about power. Kevin Park, another former council candidate who lost to Dominic Caserta in 2014, agrees. This is a really bad thing for the city, Park said, adding that he thinks a 7-district map with a rotating mayor is the only viable way to allow a new crop of council members to have any real influence over city politics. Gillmor dismissed the criticism as politically motivated and not about diversifying the council. The city faces some tight deadlines to make sure it complies with the judge's order that the new system be in place for the November election.
The CVRA lawsuit. No city has ever defeated one. The lawsuit will cost Santa Clara upwards of $10 million, making it the costliest in history Santa Clara knew since 2011. Chapter 6. Revenge against the Chamber of Commerce.
Would you still be open to chamber input so that we can give you our thoughts on whether it really is a fix?
Absolutely. Oh, no doubt. Yes. In fact, I would look for that. In fact, again, even with the North of the Bayshore, I expect the chamber to come in like most chambers do and give us your recommendations for things.
A Mercury News article dated June 21st, 1993 shows a pattern of how Lisa Gillmor attacked the chamber in 1993 and is beginning to do the same thing in 2018. The city of Santa Clara was about to waste $100,000 on a pointless study of its convention center for one reason. The city council can't stand up to the empty, vicious bluster of two of its members, Lisa Gillmor and Mayor Eddie Souza. While budget shortfalls are forcing cuts in library hours and youth programs, a majority of the council decided to shell out a management and financial audit of the Santa Clara Chamber of Commerce, which contracts with the city to run the convention center. This despite the fact that annual independent audits have turned up zero evidence of problems. Gillmor said they are losing money on the center. City staff had spent hundreds of hours researching issues raised by her and Souza to no effect. The duo still eked out a council majority to go for the management audit.
I just quite haven't seen you guys very much, so I'd like to see you more, a lot more. This is our business arm of our community, and we want to hear from them, on a regular basis and weigh in on things that you quite haven't weighed in on the past. Keep our city successful and well managed as we have been in the past. So it's a critical time for us, and I'm hoping that the Chamber is a big partner with us in making all these decisions in the future. Thank you.
Cuts ties with Chamber of Commerce, citing potential conflicts and self-dealing. July 11, 2018. Santa Clara city officials are cutting ties with local Chamber of Commerce, citing a preliminary audit that identified potential self-dealing and conflicts of interest in its management of the Convention Center and Visitors Bureau. Last month, City Council, led by Mayor Lisa Gillmor's majority bloc, voted to let the decades-old contract with the Santa Clara Chamber of Commerce expire, giving the business advocacy group 2 months to wrap up things and pay off the 15 employees funded by the $1.5 million a year deal to oversee the Convention and Visitors Bureau. I don't want those people to lose their jobs, but the chamber put us in a bad position, Councilwoman Catherine Watanabe said. The chamber, they believe that the city had jumped the gun by casting doubt on the council. Halted a yearly allocation, a fee that has grown from $45,000 in 2013 to a proposed $150,000 in 2018. While the fee had been in place for many years, the original 1984 agreement only details that the chamber could manage the Convention Center and Visitors Bureau, but does not assign such a fee.
Are you experiencing deja vu too? Chapter 7. The 2018 election.
Hi, I'm Mayor Lisa Gillmor. I have some great news for all Santa Clara residents. We've won a major legal victory in a dispute with the 49ers over stadium rent. Today, we're showing that we, as a city, will manage the 49ers and not be managed by them. That wasn't always the case. In 2016, the 49ers tried to unilaterally reduce their rent by $4.25 million per year. Over the next 40 years, that would have totaled $170 million. The majority of the city council stopped them, so the 49ers filed for arbitration. The result was great for us. Instead of a major rent reduction, we won a decision to increase rent annually by approximately $262,000. That adds up to almost $10 million over 40 years. The decision resulted in a swing of $180 million. That's a major victory for Santa Clara. In addition to the rent increase, the authority will receive back pay for rental payments owed. The 49ers will also have to pay our attorney's fees and court costs. We will seek prompt payment and full transparency of the arbitrator's statement of decision. Mr. Mayor, I can assure you that we are serious about our duty to protect Santa Clara taxpayers and residents. Thank you very much.
49ers spokesperson sent out a statement about the mayor saying in part, quote, "It's exactly this deceptive approach, her lack of transparency and fuzzy math that make Mayor Gillmor distrustful." Today, the same spokesperson said, quote, "Mayor Lisa Gillmor will always put her interests before those of everyday Santa Clarans. The stadium lease is a matter of public record. Attempting to give it new life in the media is a distraction tactic to avoid questions of her use of public funds for spin doctor Sam Singer." Singer is the city's communications consultant who Gillmor is accused of using for her own personal agenda against the 49ers.
It's almost embarrassing for them to put that out, but what's important to know is that is a complete distraction. The public can see through that. Again, it's just a distraction to cover up the huge loss that they just endured. They should stop their emotional outbursts about me.
And Santa Clara Mayor Lisa Gillmor isn't the only one who feels that way.
It's not professional. It's not professional at all, and it's disappointing.
With city leaders by her side, Gillmor met with reporters one-on-one.
It's about the rent dispute. It's about the public. It's about our responsibility to manage that stadium.
Just one day after the 49ers won their first preseason game against Dallas, we've now learned they lost a rent dispute in arbitration against the city of Santa Clara.
The arbitration award is a major victory for the citizens of Santa Clara and the taxpayers, and it shows now that we are managing the 49ers and not being managed by them.
The arbitrator's decision, the 49ers will now pay $24.7 million per year rent, up from $24.5 million, an increase of $262,000 a year. The 49ers will now pay about $11 million more rent than they have been paying over a 40-year period. 49ers originally wanted their rent reduced by $5 million a year, citing a clause in the contract with the Santa Clara Stadium Authority that called for a reduction in rent if financial performance was better than projected, which it was. Instead, to raise the rent. In a statement, spokesman accuses the mayor of exaggerating the significance of the decision. Quote, "It's exactly this deceptive approach, her lack of transparency and fuzzy math that make Mayor Gillmor difficult to trust. We accept the arbitrator's decision to increase our annual rent payment by 1%. It's deceitful of the mayor to say otherwise."
Political grandstanding.
Planning Commissioner Anthony Becker is running for mayor against Lisa Gillmor. He says voters have told him the mayor is going overboard in this and other disputes with the 49ers.
I want them to pay their fair share. And that's what I feel too, is the 49ers should pay their fair share. And also the city should also play fair too and not create a political theater out of this. Following my news report with CBS 5, I discovered that Stand Up for Santa Clara and Lisa Gillmor had shared me saying that I was 49er candidate. My quote of "the city should play fair" was taken out of context. I am not the 49er candidate. Santa Clara opts not to host political forums, prompting outrage from candidates. Just 2 months before Election Day, Santa Clara is appealing a judge's ruling to replace an at-large voting system deemed discriminatory to non-white candidates with 6 city council districts. Given the court-ordered overhaul and the city's legal challenge, there's a lot of confusion on how things will play out on November 6th. So it's unsurprising that Santa Clara is facing blowback for discontinuing a long-standing tradition of hosting candidate forums. After all, this is arguably one of the most consequential election years in the city's history. City officials say the ethics committee, comprising council members Kathy Watanabe, Debbie Davis, Lisa Gillmor, and until his resignation in May, amid allegations of sexual harassment, Dominic Caserta, raised concerns about the forums. It was after the 2016 elections. After reviewing the policy, they questioned whether hiring a consultant to host the events was the best use of public money. Once again, the best use of public money. But the group never officially made up its mind about how to change the program. Months passed without revisiting the conversation, and as a result, the council never directed the staff to hire anyone to organize the events for the 2018 election.
If a neutral third party wants to take on the responsibility, that's an option. But the city would do nothing more than offer its council chambers to the League of Women Voters or another group willing to take the lead. To Mayor Lisa Gillmor's critics, the decision appears politically motivated, a way for her allies at City Hall to spare her the trouble of facing prospective voters alongside her re-election challenger, Anthony Becker. This wasn't even decided by a council vote, Becker says. All of a sudden, apparently, we're making the rules up as we go.
I thank you for enjoying the video. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to actually take a look at these facts and the truth. The evidence is where it is, and the evidence is where it lies. So that's why I'm asking everybody to get together and vote for me on November 6, 2018, because I represent change. Vote Anthony J. Becker for Mayor of Santa Clara. Thank you, and have a great day.